Hi, my name is Beckyryan, and the purpose of this video is to give a brief historical overview of students with ADHD. I will also concentrate on ways to handle scenarios that may arise when teaching a student with ADHD. Although ADHD has been around for many years, it has been called different things at different times. In 1902, a doctor in Britain named the disorder we now call ADHD defect of moral control. It was then called post-encephalitic behavior disorder. In the early 1960s, the disorder was called minimal brain dysfunction. At the end of the decade, the name of this disorder was changed to hyperkinetic disorder of childhood. In 1980, the disorder was given its current name of attention deficit disorder with or without hyperactivity. Finally, in 1987, ADD was changed to Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD. Recent studies show that approximately 4.4 million children ages 4 to 17 were reported to have a history of ADHD diagnosis. Of these, 2.5 million, or nearly 56%, were reported to be taking medication for the disorder, and 7.8% of school-age children have ADHD. Some symptoms suggestive of ADHD in children include inattention, hyperactivity, impulsivity in a variety of ways. Many children with ADHD are in constant motion, squirm and fidget often, do not seem to listen, are easily distracted, and have problems finishing tasks. Healthcare providers such as pediatricians or child psychologists can diagnose ADHD with the help of standard guidelines from the American Academy of Pediatrics. The diagnosis involves gathering information from several sources, including school, caregivers, and parents. The healthcare provider will consider how a child's behavior compares with that of other children the same age. The exact cause of ADHD is not known, but inherited genetic factors are likely responsible. Ongoing research is focused on identifying genes that cause a person to be susceptible to ADHD. Using various imaging tests, researchers have been able to observe the brain at work. They have found a possible link between ADHD and brain structure, between ADHD and the function of chemicals in the brain that help regulate attention and activity, and between ADHD and differences in function of some of the areas of the brain that affect attention and impulse control. Also, research shows that a mother's use of cigarettes, alcohol, or other drugs during pregnancy may increase the risk for ADHD. Some studies suggest that exposure to lead may cause symptoms associated with ADHD. Some other factors that may be responsible for causing ADHD are a sudden life change, such as divorce, a death in the family, or moving. Undetected seizures are also something that may contribute to developing ADHD, in addition to thyroid problems, lead toxicity, sleep problems, anxiety, and depression. Ultimately, we are still unsure of exactly what causes ADHD, but fortunately, many treatment options are available. Stimulant medications such as Adderall and Ritalin are used for treating ADHD and have produced many positive effects. However, medication is not the answer for all children with ADHD. As a matter of fact, as many as 20% of these children derive no real benefit from medication. Certain children experience unbearable side effects from these medications, and others simply need different or more treatment. This is where classroom management comes into the picture. I will now present various possible scenarios that may arise when teaching a child with ADHD. In addition, I will suggest adjustments and modifications that can be made to deal with the situations that present themselves. In column A, I have listed possible scenarios that might arise in a classroom with one or many children dealing with ADHD, and in column B, I have provided possible adjustments a teacher can make to help the child succeed. Difficulty following a plan is something that children with ADHD often have difficulty accomplishing. One modification or adjustment that a teacher might try is to use a questioning strategy with the student, such as, what do you need to be able to finish this task? Shifting from one uncompleted activity to another without closure is another scenario that might present itself. By defining the requirements of a completed activity, you're hopefully helping the child focus and conquer the problem, being able to complete and focus on one assignment at a time. Difficulty sustaining effort and accuracy over a long period of time is another thing that students with ADHD come up against. And reducing assignment length and striving for quality rather than quality is an adjustment that a teacher might make in the classroom to help the child overcome that barrier. Difficulty sustaining attention to tasks or other activities, in other words, being distracted easily, is something that many children with ADHD suffer from. And one suggestion I can make to overcoming that barrier is to reward children in a positive way. So rewarding them when they are able to pay attention and sustain their attention for a long time. Breaking up activities into smaller units is another suggestion I can make for teachers to try in order to make this obstacle a little more tameable. Frequent messiness or sloppiness is something that many children with ADHD tend to have a problem with. And teaching organizational skills such as breaking tasks and organization down into daily, weekly, and monthly assignment sheets has proven to be successful in terms of helping a child become organized and maintain organization throughout the class. Low fluency or production of written material, meaning it takes a child many, many hours to complete a task that should really take 1 or 2 hours, is something that many children with ADHD find themselves dealing with. And a modification that might be employed in a classroom is allowing for an alternative method of completing the assignment. So an oral presentation, a taped report, a visual presentation. These are alternative ways of completing the same assignment and ultimately will help the child complete the same goal in a different way. Frequent excessive talking is another obstacle that students with ADHD are up against and often suffer from. Teaching a student hand signals and using them to tell a student when or when not to talk is something that has proved effective in a classroom. Difficulty remaining seated or in a particular position when required to do so is something that students with ADHD often have trouble with. And giving a student frequent opportunities to get up and move around, allowing space for movement, is something that seems to help those children sit longer and pay attention for longer by giving them those breaks. Last but not least, something that comes up often in a classroom when dealing with students with ADHD is inappropriate behaviors in a team or large group sport or athletic activity, really anything where students are interacting. A student with ADHD could tend to act out or be inappropriate, and an adjustment that a teacher can make to help make the situation better is to give that student a responsible job, such as being team captain or group leader, taking care of distributing equipment or material. Hopefully this will give the student something positive to concentrate on and help him sustain or her sustain their attention. And also having the teacher in close proximity of the student in close proximity of the teacher is something that has proven very effective. Hopefully these ideas will help make classroom management a more doable task. And when dealing with students with ADHD, it's very important to recognize that it's not their fault. These disabilities are beyond their control, and all we can do as teachers is come up with adjustments and modifications to the classroom that help make the curriculum more accessible to all students.